All right, buckle up because we are diving into The Princess Bride.
Oh, yeah.
But not just the swashbuckling story you might know from the movie.
Right.
We're going deeper into the pages of William Goldman's book, where he claims to retell S. Morgenstern's, quote-unquote classic. Or does he, I mean, you've shared excerpts with us, and right off the bat,
Yeah.
it's a story within a story.
Yeah, because he's playing literary Jenga,
Yeah.
stacking these layers of reality and fiction until you're not sure which is which.
Right.
And the thing is, before metafiction was even a term,
Right.
Goldman was already bending the rules.
Exactly.
That's way ahead of the game.
He starts with these really personal anecdotes, right? He's
Yeah.
talking about struggling to read as a kid. He's got his teacher, Miss Roginski, encouraging him.
Yep.
He even mentions sending her his first novel years later.
Right.
And it's disarming, right?
It is.
It's creating this sense of intimacy, we're, getting this privileged access to his life.
Exact.
And then bam, we're transported to young William, sick in bed, listening to his father read The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
But even that scene
Yeah.
feels carefully constructed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because he paints his father as this gruff guy who barely speaks English, let alone reads intricate Florinese fairy tales.
Right.
It makes you wonder, is he playing with us?
What?
That's page one?
That is the question, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, that's what's so brilliant.
Yes.
Is that he later claims that he never actually read the Morgenstern original.
Right.
Right? So
He's abridging it.
right.
He's supposedly cutting out all the boring historical parts.
Right. All that stuff about Florinese history.
Right.
Nobody wants to read that.
Exactly.
So he's saving us from that.
But is he?
Right.
That's the question. Or is the whole thing a fabrication?
Is there even a Morgenstern? I mean,
Is there an S. Morgenstern?
that's the genius.
Right?
That uncertainty is where the magic happens. Because as readers, or in this case, listeners,
Right.
we're invited to be part of the joke.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's he's letting us peek behind the curtain at the wizard,
Yeah.
and he's showing us how the tricks are done.
Revealing the mechanics of storytelling.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and he does not let up.
And he keeps that up the entire book.
The entire time.
He's breaking the fourth wall constantly.
Yeah.
He's talking about his editor, Hiram,
Right.
pushing for a more marketable story.
Got to sell those books.
Right.
Yes.
Or his wife, Helen,
Right.
weighing in on which parts are, too dry or
Too much. Too dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's we're getting this fly on the wall perspective during the editing process.
Yeah, it's he's given us all the deleted scenes and the director's commentary all in one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's more than just a gimmick, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because by bringing us into his confidence, he's forcing us to confront the fact that every story is filtered through a particular lens.
Every story has a storyteller.
Right.
And they have their own perspective and their own baggage.
And there's no such thing as a completely objective retelling
No.
of anything.
No.
And I feel for you,
Yeah.
with your love of multiple perspectives,
Yes.
that's got to resonate with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly reminding us that every story has layers.
Yes.
Different versions.
Yep.
And it's up to us to decide what to believe.
Yes.
What to question.
What to take away.
Exactly.
And that's all before we even meet Buttercup.
I know. It's amazing.
Right.
It's all set up.
It is.
But it's brilliant setup.
It's brilliant.
Because it colors everything that follows.
Right.
We are primed for the unexpected.
Yes.
We are ready to question every romanticized detail.
We're not taking anything at face value.
Nothing is sacred.
Right.
And you have to appreciate the sheer audacity of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a master storyteller at work,
Oh, yeah.
deliberately blurring the lines between fact and fiction and inviting us to question everything we thought we knew about storytelling.
It's masterful. And
brilliant.
it's he's giving us permission to not just be passive consumers of a story,
Exactly.
but to be active participants in
Yes.
how it unfolds.
And to question it.
Yes.
And to doubt it.
Yes.
And ultimately to kind of create our own version of it.
Yes, exactly. And to find our own meaning in it,
Exactly.
which is, I think, what makes it so enduring.
Absolutely.
Right? It's timeless. Because it's not just a story, it's an experience.
It's an experience.
It's an invitation to think differently.
I love it. Yeah.
So good.
So having laid that groundwork,
yeah.
Goldman throws his head first into this
Yeah.
supposed classic tale of Buttercup.
Right.
But even here, amidst the, the farm boy romance and the sweeping vistas of Florin,
Yes.
he never lets us forget that we're in on the joke.
Never.
You know what I mean?
He never lets us forget it.
It's like he's constantly winking at us, being like,
Can you believe this?
right, I'm making this up as I go along.
Right, exactly.
But it's brilliant.
Yes.
And you can tell that he loves doing it.
He does, and he's good at it.
Oh, he's so good at it.
But take Buttercup herself.
Right.
On the surface, she kind of fits the mold of the, the beautiful,
The classic
untouchable princess.
Mm-hmm.
But even there, Goldman, through his, quote-unquote, abridged Morgenstern,
Yes.
injects these, like, subtle hints of defiance.
Yes, just defiance. I love that.
Right.
She's not just a pretty face.
No.
She's got a sharp tongue on her.
She does.
She's impatient.
Yes, she's kind of sassy.
Yes, she is.
In a way that I think is really refreshing for a character like this.
Absolutely.
Especially for the time period that it was written.
Yes, and even her beauty.
Right.
It's not like
It's in your face.
overt.
Yeah, it's like it sneaks up on you.
Right.
Which I think
It's more interesting.
it's much more interesting
Yes,
because you have to discover it. Yes, you have to discover it, and it makes her feel more real.
Exactly.
Right, because she's not just like this prepackaged fairy tale princess.
She's not a Barbie doll.
Exactly.
She's a real person.
Right.
With flaws and complexities.
Yes.
And, a little bit of an attitude.
And that's key, I think, because it allows for growth.
It does.
Because when she is thrust into these, like, increasingly ludicrous situations.
Right.
Kidnappings, sword fights.
Fire swamps. Rodents of unusual size.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
She rises to the occasion in ways that I don't think a stock character ever could.
Right. She has to dig deep.
She does.
And she finds that inner strength.
Yes, and I think that's something that really resonates with readers, especially, I think, female readers.
Yes.
Right.
She's a feminist icon.
She is. She is in a way that I don't think was necessarily intentional, but
right. But
it works.
But it works.
Yeah.
And as they sail away from Florin with Buttercup as their bewildered captive,
right,
we're introduced to another, like, iconic character.
Yes.
But again, not in the way that we might expect.
Right.
Because we hear about this mysterious man in black who's pursuing them.
Yes.
This, like, almost mythical figure shrouded in suspense. And,
right.
we as the audience are already anticipating the showdown.
Oh, yeah.
Like, who is this man in black?
Is he going to catch them?
What's he going to do?
Right. What are his motivations?
Right.
We know he's got to be important.
Exactly.
No.
And Goldman, being Goldman, he knows exactly how to ratchet up that tension.
Oh, yeah.
He feeds us these little bits and pieces, descriptions of the Man in Black's, agility, his swordsmanship.
Right.
Leaving us to kind of like connect the dots.
Put it together ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that makes the payoff even better.
Oh, absolutely.
When we finally, when Wesley finally reveals himself.
Yes.
It's so satisfying because we've been waiting for it.
We've been dreading it.
Dreading it, but also hoping for it.
Yes, exactly.
All at the same time.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of like perfectly timed reveals and satisfying payoffs.
Yes.
We can't forget about the fire swamp.
Oh, the fire swamp.
Just when you think it can't get any crazier.
Right.
Goldman throws in flame spurts quicksand.
Yeah. Rodents of unusual size.
Rodents of unusual size. Come on.
Classic.
It's just like...
It's like he's throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yes. But it all works.
It does.
It all
But
somehow...
magic.
It's magic.
It's like he's got this little twinkle in his eye.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's getting away with something.
Yes.
But we don't care.
We're along for the ride.
Exactly.
We just love it.
We're like, yes, Goldman, give us more.
More fire swamp. More rodents of unusual size.
Yes.
Please.
No, please.
And even in the midst of this, like, perilous escape,
Right.
Goldman reminds us that he's still orchestrating this whole elaborate story.
Always.
He throws in those, like, hilarious asides, like the one about his father having to assure him that Buttercup didn't actually get eaten by sharks.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
Quite.
It's just like...
Yeah, it's like he's in a room with us.
Yes.
Telling us a bedtime story.
Yes.
And making sure that we're okay.
Yes.
With all the scary parts.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Like, don't worry.
Don't worry, she's fine.
She's fine.
It's all good.
It's all good. I'm here.
It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of my master plan.
Exactly.
Which, of course, we love.
We love it.
But as we all know,
yeah,
true love doesn't conquer all.
Not always.
At least not immediately.
No.
Right.
There's going to be some bumps along the way.
There are some bumps along the way.
Some obstacles.
Wesley gets captured.
Right.
Buttercup is dragged back to Prince Humperdinck.
Right.
And things are not looking good.
Nope.
Things are looking pretty bleak.
Not good.
But this being the Princess Bride, even defeat is never the end.
Never the end.
Yeah.
It's just an opportunity for a comeback.
It's a setup.
It's a setup.
For an even more amazing comeback.
For an even more amazing comeback.
That's right. Right. And those heroes that are going to, make that comeback happen.
Yes.
Come in the form of...
Who are they?
Inigo and Fezzik.
Inigo and Fezzik are heroes.
They were hilarious as Buttercup's kidnappers.
Right.
But their loyalty to Wesley and their own personal journeys, I think make them even more compelling as rescuers.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
They've got their own baggage.
They do.
Their own motivation.
Yes.
And it all kind of comes together in this beautiful way.
Yes.
It's really quite lovely.
Their reunion is a testament to the power of friendship.
Yes.
And shared purpose.
Exactly.
Right. Inigo driven by this lifelong quest for revenge.
Right.
Fezzik searching for this sense of belonging.
Yeah.
They find common ground.
They do.
In this desire to save Wesley.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And then, of course, their quest takes them to Miracle Max.
Miracle Max.
Who is maybe one of the best characters in the history of literature.
Oh, he's up there. He's the best.
He's amazing. And he's also not really a miracle worker.
Wow.
He's just a grumpy retiree.
Yeah, basically.
Who, maybe has a soft spot for true love.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe he just wants to get those kids out of his house.
That's probably true, too.
Who can blame him?
But Miracle Max and his wife, Valerie, I mean, they are the epitome, I think, of Goldman's ability to create these, memorable characters.
Unforgettable characters.
With just a few lines.
A few deft strokes.
They're cynical.
Yes.
They're compassionate.
Yes.
They're world-weary but hopeful.
Yes.
And their back-and-forth banter is
it's amazing.
That's like a tennis match.
It's so good.
With, witty comebacks.
Too good. I love it. Okay, and then we have to talk about...
Hit me.
The scene.
Which one?
You know the one.
Oh, I know which one.
Inigo.
Yes.
Face to face with his father's killer, Count Rugen.
That's the one.
Finally uttering that line that is
Come on.
Etched into cinematic history.
Right.
Give it to me.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You killed my father.
You killed my father.
Prepared to die.
I mean, chills.
Chills every time.
Every time.
It's so good.
It's just like this perfect storm, right? Of build up and release.
Yeah. And the emotion.
Emotion, you feel it.
You feel it. You feel his pain.
You feel his rage.
You feel his determination.
Everything. It's just
perfect.
It's perfect.
It's so good.
And it's also a testament to the power of perseverance.
Yes.
Right?
Never give up.
Never give up.
On your dreams.
On your dreams.
Or your revenge.
Or your revenge. I mean...
In this case, both.
In this case, both. And then... just as satisfying in a very different way.
Okay.
Is Wesley's showdown with Humperdinck.
Yes.
Because it's not...
It's not what you expect.
It's not this epic sword fight.
Right.
It's not, magical powers.
Right.
It's just cunning wit.
And
psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare.
He gets in his head.
And
it's brilliant.
It's brilliant. And it's so fitting for a villain like Humperdinck.
Because that's his weakness.
Whose greatest weapon is his ability to manipulate. To deceive.
Yes.
And so to see him
outmaneuvered
by his own game.
His own game.
That's just perfect.
It's so good.
I love it.
And so they ride off into the sunset, right happily ever after.
Here we go.
The end.
That's it, folks.
Right.
Wrap it up.
Well, not so fast.
Uh-oh.
Because this is William Goldman we're talking about.
Right.
And he's got one final twist up his sleeve.
Of course he does.
Of course.
He wouldn't be Goldman if he didn't.
He wouldn't be Goldman.
Right.
And this is where he, I think, delivers his most brilliant kind of meta moment.
All right, I'm ready.
Right. He undercuts that expected fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
By claiming that his father always rushed through the last part of the story.
Oh, come on, Dad.
Right. So we don't really know what happens.
We don't get the real ending.
We don't get the real ending.
Oh, then what are you doing?
If they actually lived happily ever after.
Right.
He just hints at this darker more ambiguous conclusion
Right.
in the original Morgenstern.
So there's another ending out there
Right. Is there another ending out there?
that we don't know,
Do we want to know?
Do we?
right?
Or is it better not to know?
And it's like he's leaving it up to us
He is.
to imagine, to fill in those blanks.
It's up to us to write the ending.
Right. And I think that's what makes it so brilliant,
It's brilliant.
right? Because we're linked with this like
Lingering.
sense of unease.
Yes.
This like questioning of what really constitutes a happy ending.
Right, because is there even such a thing as a happy ending?
Right.
I mean,
Especially in a world
especially in the real world.
that's as messy and complicated as ours.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think that's the beauty of The Princess Bride,
It's true.
right? It's a story that stays with you
Oh, yeah.
long after you finish reading it.
Absolutely.
It makes you question the narratives we're told,
Yes.
the reliability of memory,
Mm-hmm.
the very act of storytelling itself.
It's all a story.
Right. And ultimately, I think it reminds us to embrace that uncertainty,
Yes.
to be comfortable with the unknown,
Yes.
and to find our own meaning
Yes.
in the stories that we tell
Love that.
and the stories that we consume.
It's so good.
And so on that note,
All right.
I think we'll leave it there.
Let's go storm the castle.
Yeah.